Please rise and salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning and welcome to RPtv. Today is Monday, November 25th, 2019. As we move into the holiday season, one thing we can be sure of is that Roselle Park is a community that cares. This was especially evident last week during the annual blood drive. Soraya has that report.
Blood donations are extremely important. People eligible to donate are strongly urged to do so because there can never be too big a supply of blood in blood banks. We can never be too complacent relying on the fact that other people have donated because every pint of blood donated is more helpful than we realize. Blood cannot be manufactured, and as we speak, a local patient is in need of it. Every 2 seconds, 1 in 7 people in a hospital need blood. It is also needed by accident victims, cancer patients, and hemophiliacs and surgery patients. Only 37% of the U.S. population is eligible to donate, and out of that, only 10% actually donates annually. Last week, Roselle Park community did its part to save lives in the RPHS blood drive. Students and staff came together in the gym to donate blood.
The Roselle Park Police Department has been quite busy, and it is all about good news and how the Roselle Park community always looks out for each other. Eli has the latest information.
The Roselle Park Police Department is doing it again, as they extend their No Shave November to No Shave December. This time, the officers are raising funds to help a mother in the community that has cancer. Roselle Park Police Chief Daniel J. McCaffrey is permitting officers to participate in the Double Down December, and all of the money raised by Roselle Park Police Department will be donated to Roselle Park resident Melissa Rhodes, who is battling ovarian cancer. The officers are permitted to continue growing the beards that they grew during the month of November for No Shave November. During the month of November, Roselle Park officers grew beards and voluntarily donated $100 to the family of Roselle Park, the resident. 2-year-old Matteo Vitali, who is a cancer survivor. This is our police department doing our small part to help a resident in need. Our hearts go out to the Rhodes family, said Chief McCaffrey. After hearing the local Casano Center's food pantry was running low on food this holiday, members of the Roselle Park BPA Local 27 wanted to help out. In addition, the officers went to work and were able to collect enough food to make donations to Casano Center's food pantry and the Church of Assumption, and delivered it on Wednesday afternoon in time for those needing it for Thanksgiving. According to Detective Gregory Paloski, we heard the Casano Center pantry was running low, so we wanted to help out. No one in town should go without a Thanksgiving dinner. We have a lot to be thankful for here in Roselle Park, and we wanted to pay it forward, Chief McCaffrey added. The Roselle Park BPA and our officers continue to do an outstanding job, providing outreach to our community on multiple levels. I am proud of the work they do on a daily basis. All of the food was donated by the officers of Roselle Park BPA, Local 27, and Councilman Eugene Miola, who donated the turkey.
And now it's time for announcements. Interact will be hosting a holiday party on December 20th. At this party, there will be food, games, and a white elephant. If anyone is interested in participating, please see Rebecca Rodriguez or Mr. Fucci. Interact is hosting their annual Toys for Tots collection of unused, unwrapped toys. Please bring them to Room 1 or the main office. You can also bring them to one of your teachers, since it is a competition amongst teachers as well. Roselle Park High School Student Pantry Thanksgiving Food Drive. There will be a non-perishable and canned food drive to collect food for the RPHS Student Pantry. You can drop off donations in the main office, nurse's office, and room 10. See Mrs. Arango with any questions. Collection for this drive will run until November 26th. Pet supply donations. Let's make the pets happy for the holidays. From now until November 26th, the SAS Club will be collecting pet supplies to be donated to an animal hospital. Please bring pet food, blankets, toys, or any other pet supplies to room 5. Pep Rally Prep. Students in grades 9 to 12 are welcome to join in making posters for the Pep Rally on Tuesday, November 26, 2019, from 3 to 6 in the student cafeteria. Refreshments will be served. Please join us and share your school spirit. The RPHS Theater Department is pleased to announce that the 2020 RPHS Spring Musical will be Disney's The Little Mermaid. Auditions will be held on December 2nd and 4th at 5:30 p.m. Sign-up sheets and audition packets are located in the high school main office. All students that wish to audition must sign up, fill out an audition packet, and bring the packet to the audition. Please see Mr. Wachowski, Mr. Brasky, or Ms. Arango with any questions, or email musical director Doug Panetta at dpanetta@rpc.org. French Club Movie Day. December 11th, Ratatouille with Chef Cousteau. Snack is included: popcorn, chips, cookies, juice. Right after school in the library. Tickets are $5. Get your tickets today from Yassine, Avani, or Ryan. No tickets will be selling at the door. French Club Holiday Bake Sale. Right after school on December 18th. Class of 2022, sophomores. Please check your email in regard to the newest fundraiser your class officers are planning. Juniors and seniors interested in building trades. The Guidance Department is hosting a trip to the Northeast Carpenters Apprentice Training Center in Edison on Tuesday, December 3rd. The bus departs from the high school at 9 a.m. and we will be back by 12:30 p.m. Limited number of spots. Stop by Guidance to pick up your permission slip. Permission slips are due back by Tuesday, November 26th. Today is Meme Day. Dress up as your favorite or funny meme. Tomorrow, the 26th, is Twins Day. Twin up with a friend or maybe a teacher. Wednesday, the 27th, is the pep rally. Wear your class shirt or color. If everyone just stops for a moment and looks around at the people sitting next to them, then you will understand our next segment. Let's go back to Soraya for that story.
Are you from the state of New Jersey? Chances are you're a genius. According to the studies and gathered data analysis conducted by Safe Home, a professional review site, they have placed New Jersey as the smartest state with a score of 337.8, well ahead of second place Utah, which checked in with 324 points. How does one calculate a state's smartness? Well, it is calculated by the number of college degrees, high school graduation rates, professional or advanced degrees, and test scores. Research also shows that 91% of New Jersey's public high school students have graduated in 4 years. In addition, the study shows 24.2% of New Jersey's residents over 25 have completed a bachelor's degree, and 15.6% over 25 have a graduate or professional degree. Ranking of bachelor and graduate degrees are weighed at its highest, doubling in its value. Then high school graduation rates had 1.5 value, while SAT and ACT scores are valued at the lowest. Overall, New Jersey residents are thriving in the genius section.
Stay tuned, we will be right back. That's it for today. Thanks for watching RPtv. Have a great day and stay tuned for CNN 10.
Welcome to a new week of CNN 10. We are only on the air 2 days this week. Tomorrow's show will be our last before the Thanksgiving holiday, and we're thankful to have you watching. I'm Carl Azus at the CNN Center. A new trade deal between the United States and China could be wrapped up before 2019 is over. It could end more than a year of back and forth tariffs or taxes on goods that the two countries have placed on each other. And when U.S. President Donald Trump announced last week that the two countries were potentially close on a deal, the American stock market rose on the hopes of it. But while the U.S. National Security Advisor said phase one of an agreement was possible before December 31st, America would not be turning a blind eye to the protests in Hong Kong or some of China's other activities around the world. Why might that matter? Because business conducted between the world's two largest economies isn't just about tariffs, transport, buying, and selling. China and the U.S. have two very different systems of government, and China's communist leadership, which controls what's said in the Chinese media, has also tried to influence what's said by U.S. companies that do business in China. That's created some tough choices for them and contributed to tensions between the two nations' leadership.
The United States now recognizes China as a strategic and economic rival. China's coveted consumer market comes with very big moral concessions for American brands and business.
If you are doing business in China, your political views will be sanitized in favor of the Beijing government.
In some cases, working in China not only does not do that, but compromises American companies' ability to promote our values abroad and around the world.
For virtually anyone who wants to do business in China, the message is toe the Communist Party line or face threats of losing access to the market. What is that line? Often referred to as the 3 T's: Tibet, Taiwan, and Tiananmen. China considers Tibet's spiritual leader in exile, the Dalai Lama, to be a dangerous separatist, even though he's no longer pushing for Tibetan independence. On the subject of Taiwan, China views it as a Chinese province, even though it's self-governing and democratic. And Tiananmen, well, the uprising in 1989 killed anywhere from several hundred to thousands of people. It is a global symbol of the struggle for democracy, and democracy is a no-go in communist China.
And I now call on the Chinese leadership publicly, as I have in private channels, to avoid violence and to return to their previous policy of restraint.
More recently added to the no-go list for American companies, democracy protests in Hong Kong and the plight of Uyghur Muslims. Mostly, companies cave when China complains. Last year, U.S. airlines bowed to Chinese demands to change the way they refer to Taiwan on their websites. China's aviation authority also demanded Hong Kong and Macau be clearly labeled as part of China. The U.S. government called China's language police Orwellian nonsense.
The pages of George Orwell's 1984 are coming to life there.
The White House, in a statement, vowed to stand up for Americans, resisting efforts by the Chinese Communist Party to impose Chinese political correctness on American companies and citizens. But airlines obliged China. So did Gap, which quickly apologized for a T-shirt with a map of China that did not include Taiwan. More recently, the NBA initially distanced itself from comments from a team executive that were sympathetic to Hong Kong protesters. The result? Canceled games, severed business deals.
We are not apologizing for Daryl exercising his freedom of expression.
Both the NBA and China are now trying to cool this standoff, but it just shows how doing business in China presents unique challenges.
10-second trivia. Which of these adjectives describes a swelling of a lymph node? Bucolic, blastoporic, bubonic, or bolometric? Swelling of a lymph node is a bubo, so the adjective for that is bubonic. Bubonic is one of the most common types of plague, and that word itself often brings up thoughts of the Black Death, the plague that swept across Europe in the 14th century, killing as much as 60% of the people on the continent. But that's just one of 3 major plague pandemics that history has recorded over the past 2,000 years, and the disease isn't just a section in history books. 3 people in China were diagnosed with the plague this month. It's not as deadly a threat as it has been in the past, but it still is a threat in rare cases. And while there's a lot that scientists still don't know about the plague, Elizabeth Cohen discusses what they do.
The plague is caused by a bacteria called Yersinia pestis, and most of the time humans get it from a flea bite. Back when plague was rampant and there was no treatment for it, plague could get into people's blood and it could turn their limbs black, and that's where we get the term Black Death. When the plague struck the Roman Empire in the 6th century, it went on to kill 25 million people. Eventually, the plague wiped out 60% of Europe. Now, before there were antibiotics, the plague would kill between 66 and 93% of people who got it. Now, with antibiotics, that mortality rate goes down to about 16%. So typically every year in the United States, 1 person dies of the plague and 7 people get sick. Fever, abdominal pain, nausea, vomiting. If you get these symptoms and you're living in an area where it's known that the plague has been before, then you should go seek help from your doctor. And you should definitely go to your doctor if you develop huge lymph nodes. Sometimes people with the plague, they get lymph nodes the size of a chicken egg. Also, the Centers for Disease Control says you should never feed rodents like squirrels and rats, and you certainly shouldn't touch them after they've died. We've done a great job of getting rid of the plague almost entirely in this country. Better hygiene goes a long way, but you can't entirely get rid of the bacteria. It's not just a dark ages bacteria, it's still with us.
Plague was not a possible outcome in the original checkered game of life, and by that we mean the board game called Life. But it seems Plague could have been on it, considering some of the other squares. Life, again the game, was invented by Milton Bradley, who was a printer, businessman, and inventor. He's probably best known as the founder of a famous American toy brand.
Without Abraham Lincoln, and really his beard, Milton Bradley, the godfather of board games, would have never existed. Bold statement, I know, but let me explain. The game of life. The spinner, the cars, the choices, college or career, kids or no kids, lawyer or farmer. This family game night staple was once a pretty morbid game. Back in the 1800s, Milton Bradley was in the lithograph business. Following the Republican National Convention of 1860, Bradley printed thousands of images of Abraham Lincoln, who was clean-shaven at the time. Shortly thereafter, Lincoln debuted his iconic beard, rendering all of Bradley's prints worthless. His lithograph business went belly up. So Bradley was forced to try something new. He came up with a board game, a seemingly dark and twisted board game appropriately named the Checkered Game of Life. The game functioned in a similar way to how it does now. There was a spinner, colored circles that moved around the board, and of course squares that could either make you or break you. The squares on the original game were overwhelmingly grim, boasting actions like disgrace, poverty, ruin, crime, prison. Regardless, the game flew off the shelves. Kids loved it, and Milton Bradley went on to own Family Game Night. Fast forward to about 100 years later. They revamped the game, trading Bradley's morbid squares for the more delightful ones like Payday or Graduation, which we have all come to know and love. And so there you have it, the story of the game called Life. Thanks, Lincoln.
A demonstration of strength reveals a weakness. This is the prototype of a new Cybertruck, which the Tesla Auto Company hopes to start selling in 2021. The design is bold and controversial, but shortly after Tesla's CEO said its glass wouldn't break even if you threw the kitchen sink at it, a metal ball went crack. To be fair, it did not go through the window, but when the designer tried again on the rear window, oops. As Time.com puts it, guess it's not all it's cracked up to be. Nothing's shatter foolproof, and even if it gives you a view into the when-dos and when-don'ts of testing, who's going to be making a pickup where metal balls are being thrown at your truck? You'd need to trade up for a tank and be thankful that even if something dreadful comes your way, you'll still have your steel to steal your vehicle, even if the view isn't what you glassed for. I'm Carl Azus. Tomorrow's show is our last one of the week before the Thanksgiving holiday. We hope to see you turkeys then.